We were talking about the people who died, and that can be really hard. The happy part was is that we were letting our tears and feelings go away.
What the kids find is that they look around and they see that everybody has had the same experience that they have had. Someone important in their life has died.
I am Joe Aguiar from the Clovercrest Media Group. Thank you so much for joining us. There are now 4.48 million cases of COVID-19 around the world, with 304,000 deaths. Here in the United States, it's 1.46 million cases of COVID, 87,218 deaths. We have 35,464 cases here in Connecticut. There have been 3,219 deaths. 1,103 people are currently being treated for coronavirus in the hospital. The point of today is not at all political. We're not going to talk about anything about the political reaction to this. This is about the deaths and dealing with the death of a loved one, and specifically for your children. We're trying to teach sixth grade math at this point, and also having to try to deal with losing a loved one at this point, COVID related or otherwise, is certainly very difficult. Allison Gamber is the executive director and oversees and directs the Cove Center for Grieving Children, the family site. There's Camp Aaron. She does all of this stuff, runs the day-to-day operation of the Cove. Allison, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much, Joe, for having me. This is an unprecedented time, and people are out there and they need some help, and we're here to provide that support for them.
All right. So I've known you for a while. You've always been involved in charity, and I've always tried to support him. I think you do really amazing work. So let's talk about the Cove Center for Grieving Children. I know you're the executive director, as I just said. What exactly is that organization? We do have your information running across the bottom for resources about dealing with COVID, and we're going to talk about the auction a little bit later on. But what exactly is it that you guys do?
So the Cove Center for Grieving Children is actually celebrating its 25th anniversary this year in 2020. And we provide support services for children who are grieving the death of a parent or sibling primarily. We will support other children grieving the deaths of other family members when the circumstances arise. But really, we're here to support children, provide them with the support, the tools that they need. We're essentially teaching them how to grieve appropriately so that those negative feelings, those hard feelings, that grief doesn't turn into negative behaviors when they're older.
All right. So how exactly does the program work, assuming somebody gets involved in it?
So you can call our office, and we have a couple of programs. And we actually have one brand new program that we're offering now amidst of the COVID-19 epidemic. But our main program that's been running for 25 years is called the Family Program, and it's a 20-week program where families can enter and go into one of our what we call a Cove site. It's run by a licensed clinical social worker, and then there's volunteers that support the social worker. So we have the families come in, they apply for our program through a link on our website. They get interviewed and processed to make sure it's an appropriate time for them to join our program. During the program, though, over those 20 weeks, different activities happen at every session, and they're usually art therapy-based activities to help the children learn how to process their grief. to learn what those feelings that they're feeling mean and how to put them out there in the world for somebody to be able to help them. It's okay to talk about death. It's okay to talk about grief. For years, I mean, even now, people don't like to talk about death. Who likes to talk about death? Nobody. But when you have a child that's experiencing the death of a parent or a sibling, at one time it was everything will be fine. We brush it under the rug, and the kids will be fine. And they're not. They need support. They need to know that they're loved. They need to know that it's okay to talk about it. And that's what our program does. Our program brings these families together to sit across from somebody else and say, wow, I'm not alone. There is somebody else out there experiencing this. And each week it follows the same pattern. We provide a meal for the family, so it's one night they don't have to think about cooking. Fancy, but it's food. It's a time for them to come together and talk. Then they go into the real work, where they meet in a circle. They say why they're there, what the name of the loved one that's died, and then they go into different activities, into age-based activities. So the kids will break up into smaller groups, and then the parents also get training and education from the social worker on what their kids are experiencing, how to help them, and what they could potentially expect over the next couple of weeks based on the activities the kids are doing.
All right. So to be clear, though, this is not like a therapy group. If somebody needs therapy, obviously you guys could direct them.
No.
That's not what this is.
Right. It's not therapy, even though we do have social workers that administer the programs. It's not therapy. It's just a peer support group, essentially, with a therapist who is there to, help out and make sure that, nobody needs an additional support. And if they do, then they can certainly provide that information to them. And all of our programs are free. So we rely solely on donations and grants to be able to sustain these programs.
Okay, I was going to say there's a lot of volunteers, obviously, that are working there to make all of this stuff happen. So that was going to be my question. Obviously, no cost, as you've just said. So that sort of brings us to, well, actually, before we get to that, what's the quickest way for somebody to connect with you guys if they wanted to get involved or learn more?
Sure. So you can go to covect.org. That's our website. And we have all of our information either under programs or volunteers that you can look at. You can call our office. We're a little bit delayed in responding to phone calls right now because we're all working from home. But our phone number is 203-634-0500. And they can call, leave a message, and our program coordinator will call you back and to answer some questions for you, and then to send you the link that you need to register. I should mention too that we also have our camp. We have a grief camp, an overnight grief camp, which unfortunately is now postponed until 2021 just because of everything that's going on. But it's a 3-day camp where kids come to learn how to process their grief. They go through grief activities. It's a lot of work these kiddos do to be able to understand their feelings and to be able to start talking about it. And it's actually been a lifeline for a number of kids. They tell us they don't know where they would be as an adult if they didn't have our either family program or Camp Aaron. And it's really quite remarkable to see what these kids, the transformation these children go through over the weekend. And then we have a brand new program too that we just started because of the coronavirus. It's where we'll have, it's called Caring Connection. And if you're having issues, if you're not sure if your loved one is going to recover from corona, if you somebody has just died in your family, call our office and we'll connect you to a social worker that can provide you with more information, kind of take an assessment, see if you need any more services, because there is a waiting period between when a death occurs and when you can enter any of our programs. So she's going to try and fill that gap in between so that people really are getting the support that they need right now. I had somebody contact me the other day and said, listen, I don't know if my son's father is going to survive the coronavirus. How do I talk to him? He's 12. How do I tell him? So that's what we're here for, to try to make those connections and make things a little bit easier so you don't feel so alone in this situation.
We are obviously living in such a crazy time where, death and sickness is kind of all over the news. It's hard for kids to not come across it or to at least have
Sure.
some questions. And if you are unfortunately having to deal with death, again, as I was saying, trying to teach your kids their schoolwork is tough enough while you're working, and if you're dealing with something like that, you need help, and it's good that we have an organization like yours to help people along with this stuff. Now, because of the pandemic, your gala event had to be canceled. It was going to be hosted by my buddy Joe Fury from WTNH, the great meteorologist and just a wonderful human being. Uh, Obviously, this gala is a big supporter of your program for most of the year, I would assume. So by not having it, you guys had to go to a plan B online auction. All proceeds for the auction will support the programs, and there is some really fantastic stuff. And it went live this morning. Am I correct?
It did, yeah. We had to shift everything that we were doing, just like everybody else, because our gala was canceled. I mean, it was supposed to be our 25th anniversary celebration, so a lot of people were really disappointed. But with all and we had the auction at the gala, so instead we turned it into an online auction. And actually, I've heard a lot of great feedback. People think it's a lot of fun, something a little bit different to take your mind off of everything that's going on. It's all through text messaging, so once you bid on something, if somebody outbids you, you get a text, so you can bid right away again. And people seem to be enjoying it and raising some money to support our services, because we want to be able to be here for these families, moving forward. Once things start to calm down and life goes back to whatever our new normal is going to be, the grief is still going to be there. The grief is going to be the long-term lasting effect on a lot of these families. I don't know, what did you say? Over 3,000 people in Connecticut have died.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, in some way, shape, or form, everybody's going to be affected by this. So we need to be here to be able to just continue to support these families for free. We don't want that financial burden to be placed on these families. When you have a parent die, you went from nowadays most homes are two people incomes. Mom and dad both work. Well, all of a sudden now you've lost that second income. Your whole life has shifted and flipped upside down. So we transitioned our auction to online to be able to continue to support the programs. And we've got some really cool stuff on there, actually. We've got tiki torches, these beautiful glass tiki torches. We've got tickets to all sorts of, mystic and plays. When everything starts to come back, you'll be able to enjoy all of those things again.
ACCEL, so excelevents.com/e/hope and healing is the website. And I was going through this earlier in the day. There is some very cool items on here. Mystic Aquarium membership. You can get something like that, which is very cool. Connecticut, one of the Connecticut breweries donated some glasses. I know Joe Fury is going to be actually giving a tour of WTNH. There's also a getaway with Kelly Ripa's show, Kelly and Ryan Seacrest. So you got some really great stuff here, and I hope people will certainly Children's Museum. A lot of really cool stuff on here to bid on for. And I think anybody who is at home, who maybe isn't even necessarily affected by this, but maybe wants to get involved and wants to do some good, you could see down below the website, covect.org. If you're looking for resources, again, all that information is right there along the bottom of the screen. It looks like your auction was going to be huge the night of the gala, which I believe is going to be at the AquaTurf.
Yeah, it was going to be at the AquaTurf. We've actually rescheduled it for September, but now I don't even know if that's going to happen. So it's just, one day at a time here, but we really are excited about this auction that we're having now. You can also go to our website, covect.org, and the link for the auction is right there also. And all of our information, we've got COVID resources. We've got some activities on there that you can do with your children if they're grieving, things to be hopeful for. And it's not even about death at this point. Everybody's grieving in a different way. The children are grieving the loss of being at school and seeing their friends. People are grieving the fact that they've lost their job. They don't have their normal schedule is completely uprooted, and that sense of normalcy is not there anymore. So people are grieving for all sorts of different reasons, and the activities we have on there can really be used for a multitude of reasons, and some of them are really to, okay, let's remember the good things that we have. What is good, what is positive in our life. We still, have food, we have a roof, we have the ability to go outside. There's still things to be hopeful for and thankful for. And we really want to, make sure we encourage people to think about those things too, because it can be very trying for many people. But we are here to support all of those folks.
Yeah, you and I were talking beforehand, again, how people are sort of dealing with this new world, and there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of uncertainty. It would be great if September you could reschedule your gala. Hopefully, we're at the point where we just don't know. We do know that basically the flattening of the curve has been at least somewhat successful. States are looking to start reopening. Connecticut as early as May 20th. There's already some states around the country that are opening, but there's still a lot of anxiety from people. And I think, and you hear the president talk about it, and it's a fact that obviously people are suffering from depression and loss. Again, as you mentioned, not necessarily just the death of a loved one or a close friend, but just the loss of, if you owned a business and it had to be shut down. I've noticed really in talking to kids, the anxiety that they're suffering, you kind of alluded to it before, isn't even so much COVID and if they haven't experienced death directly, that it's just not getting to hang out with their buds anymore. It's definitely weighing on these kids. And obviously I think the older they are, the more they kind of understand what's going on, the more likely they are probably to need some help and to want to talk it out. And it's nice that there's resources. And it's great that there's organizations like you guys, and I'm so glad that we could help the Cove Center for Grieving Children. So much great stuff on that auction. It goes until Sunday night at 8:00. What else do we need to know? What's the Cove Run? I saw that too. Is that another fundraiser?
It is. So we have a 5K and a family memorial walk and a kids fun run, and it's usually the third Sunday of October. So, and it's at Hammonasset. So it's pretty cool. It's beautiful, and we're really hoping that we can still have it this year. So we'll be, putting information online on our website about that in the coming weeks, I suppose. But yes, it's the third Sunday of October, and it's really cool. There's about 1,000 people that usually join us for that, so it's a great opportunity to get out there, to be part of the memorial walk if you experience the death of a loved one, or just come out and run the 5K. It's a timed 5K. It's actually a certified course as well for those folks that are runners that are looking for certified courses. It is a certified course on the Burke Trail at Hammonasset. So it's a really nice day, and it is another opportunity for families to come together, and so they don't feel alone, so they can make that connection with somebody. Right now, all of our family program went on virtually. We're doing everything online now, and because of that, I've had so many of our meetings. The kids are like, "Oh, it's so good to see you." And the parents are so happy to make that connection again too. For some of them, it's just one more thing with all this technology and homeschooling and trying to figure everything out. It's very overwhelming. So to make those connections, even with some of them one-on-one, has been very helpful for a lot of people.
Well, that is really outstanding. How are you guys doing as far as volunteers? Is there any certification as far as somebody who is looking to volunteer with your group?
We are always looking for volunteers. We have over 150 volunteers throughout the year. Our camp is actually 100% volunteer based. So they spend the whole weekend with these kids, and they're all volunteers. So yes, there is training involved that we provide. And for our family program, the 20-week program, which runs approximately every other Sunday from September through June, there's volunteers that go there. Some sites have 10 volunteers, and we have 7 locations across the state where these families can go and meet and grieve together. So we're always looking for volunteers. And the only thing that you need to do is love kids, and have an open and warm heart. That's all we ask, and we can provide you with the rest of the training that you need. All that information is on our website too, on how to volunteer, what opportunities we have. So if you go to covect.org and click on the volunteer tab, you'll be able to find all that information.
That's really great. Again, I think, when people are living through something extraordinary, and again, maybe aren't necessarily affected, what a great thing to do to be able to go out and volunteer your time and your efforts. So if you're looking to get involved in a really cool charity, you like kids, this one seems like it might be a really good one. I hope that you'll all partake in the auction. I know I've got my eyes set on a couple of things. So I'm gonna get out
Awesome.
there and do some clicky. Um, covect.org to get resources for COVID-19. There's a whole page. I actually went on it and I was looking at it a little bit earlier. Really great information, very updated again. If you are looking to deal with or in the situation where you're dealing with grief, please check out the Cove Center for Grieving Children. excelevents.com/e/hope and healing. That is the site for the auction. You've got until Sunday night at 8 o'clock sharp. Some really cool stuff, really good chance to make a difference in the lives of people and to help out a really great organization. So I hope everybody will do that. Allison, I really appreciate you doing this. We kind of threw this together last minute, and I really appreciate you joining us. And
Yeah.
it seems like whatever organization you're in, it always seems like it's fun, and it seems like you always find really great causes to get involved in, and so I'm excited to learn more about the Cove myself, and hopefully we could do some more stuff in the future.
Thank you so much, Joyce. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you too again.
Awesome. All right. I appreciate it, Allison. Thank you so much. Again, all the information that you need, covect.org. I hope you'll check it out. Please support that auction. You can also visit clovercrestmedia.com. You'll find this video we posted there a little bit later on. Thank you so much for joining us, and please make a difference and stay safe.